is from Student Perspectives. My name's Malaika, and I'll be moderating today's panel discussion. And I have four other students here with me today: Nikhil, Sneha, Ria, and Rabia, who are also studying in different parts across the world, right from USA to Ireland, Canada, India, France. So before we begin, I'll give a small introduction about myself, and then I'll pass it on to the other panelists to introduce themselves. So, as I said, my name is Malaika, and I'm currently in my third year of my undergraduate degree. I'm studying in Canada, and I study at Huron University, which is in London, Ontario. I am currently doing an honors specialization in psychology, and prior to this, I completed my high school in Bombay, and I did the IBDP program. So before I pass it on to the other panelists, we have a couple of polls ready. So we're just going to make those polls live. If you guys can just vote on those polls while the other panelists are introducing themselves, that would be great. So I'll just make them live, and then Nikhil, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you. Hi, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to attend today's discussion. I hope everyone has had an amazing week so far and are looking forward to a thrilling weekend. I'm Nikhil Henry, a grade 12 IBTV student at Legacy School, Bangalore, wherein I've held the position of Student Council President and led numerous initiatives. My course curriculum of sciences and businesses in the IBDP aligned with my deep interests of technology, business, and entrepreneurship. Outside class hours, I lead development of a mental health software as a service product, Sunnyvale Reflect. I've pursued international curriculum thus far and aim to pursue engineering in India. I hope and believe that today's discussion leaves you with an array of thoughts to expand your perspectives as we hear from my esteemed co-panelists today on a pressing topic of country choices. Over to Ms. Neha.
Everyone, I'm delighted to be here today. Thanks so much. My name is Sneha. I'm currently pursuing my LLM in business law from University College Cork. I am also one of the 60 scholarship awardees provided by the Government of Ireland for international education, the International Education Scholarship. And I'm enrolled with the Bar Council of India. But I decided to take a shift, and Ireland is a great opportunity, especially for my field, because like India, Ireland is also a common law jurisdiction. I'm delighted to be here today, and I hope to provide you all with some perspective about studying abroad in Ireland. Thanks so much.
I think I can go next. So, hi guys, I'm Ria. I'm an alumni from Flame University in Pune, India. And now I'm studying in France in Kedge Business School, pursuing my master's in digital marketing and sales. Prior to that, in Flame, I did my BBA with a major in finance and a minor in digital marketing. Being really grateful for this opportunity to talk to you guys about why I chose my country for my master's and why I chose to do my undergraduate in India. And I pass it on to Rabia.
Hi guys, I'm Rabia. I'm a third year student at the School of Visual Arts. I'm studying in New York, so I chose to go to the United States. And I am an alumni of Vasant Valley School from New Delhi. And I'm in my third year, and I'm a design major. And it's great to be here today. I'm looking forward to a really meaningful interaction, and I hope you all take back something meaningful about country choices from our discussion today. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you, everyone, for actually putting in your votes into the poll. That's really going to help us better cater to what we should discuss here today. So I feel like a good starting point for the discussion would be to get a little understanding from our panelists why they chose to study in the country that they have chosen to study in, and what was the application process really like. So, Rabia, if you'd like to start off, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so like I said, I'm studying in the US and I'm a design major. So for me, US was the best option according to my major. That's how I kind of decided on studying in the US. I was considering on studying in UK as well, but I just felt that the course offerings in the US and the education was more rigorous in the US, and so that's kind of how I decided on the US. Also with my college, all the faculty, they're working professionals in the industry, and so that I really thought that that would be a good experience to have, and it would increase the opportunities that I would have eventually. So that's how I decided on studying in the US. Also, I was getting scholarship from the college that I'm currently studying at. I was so my scholarship is 50% of my tuition fee and also 25% of the residence. And I feel like US, a lot of colleges in the US do give scholarships, so that was also another factor that I considered. As for the application process, I think it's pretty intense applying to the US, and also given that I'm a design major, I had to make a portfolio, so that took a lot of time and energy, um, which was added on to the usual application process. So I had to make like 15-20 pieces to showcase to the colleges before I got admitted. And then other than that, it was the usual stuff of writing essays, going through Common App, taking the tests like the SAT, TOEFL, which is compulsory if you want to study in the US. And yeah, so that's pretty much what it was. Yeah.
Sneha, if you want, you can go next.
So much. So why UCC? There were a couple of factors. It's a very good institution. In fact, Deepthi, do you mind sharing the first slide, the first picture that I had shared with you of why UCC? Okay, I don't know if it's up or not, but I'll continue. So the picture that Deepthi will probably share with you in a moment is just a brief of what the advantages of studying at UCC is. It is one of the top universities in Ireland, in Europe. It ranks in terms of law, top 100 universities in the world. In terms of sustainability, also, it's ranked at a very good level. As a law student, I wanted to study in a common law jurisdiction. So UK is an obvious first choice for a lot of people pursuing or trying to pursue their masters or even an undergrad. It's a lot easier. But I suppose the job opportunities are a little less in comparison to Ireland, which is upcoming. Even if you graduate from UCC, there's a 94% placement rate, which is very impressive. So I chose UCC because of the university ranking, but also the course that they were offering, the modules that they were offering. There's a wide variety. There's good exposure, and in fact, UCC is one of the few universities that are actively participating in arbitration, alternate dispute resolution systems, which is upcoming in my field. So keeping all these factors in mind, UCC was a very, very easy option for me to choose from the other university that I applied to. And personally, I think also because when I applied, the pandemic had just hit. We'd almost gone into lockdown. So I was obviously very scared of what was going to happen. There were a lot of other countries that were rejecting students, and I wanted on-campus exposure. So I think throughout those couple of months before I actually came in here, the international student support group was very helpful. Always in touch, would reply to emails very promptly. They had workshops, even the representatives in India, Vedahi in particular. I'd like to mention, she really helped us out. So I think it made a lot of difference. And of course, I was awarded the scholarship, which is a very prestigious scholarship. So I'm on a full scholarship. In addition to that, I also have been awarded an amount of 10,000 euros by the government of Ireland. So a prestigious scholarship, good module, good system, everything kind of just contributed to my choice in Ireland. And then lastly, with regards to visa, so for undergrad students, depending on the course, it can be 3 years of study and then 1 year extended visa. I have a 1+2, so 1 year of student visa and then 2 years of extension after that. So that was also a good positive point to look for a job and settle down here. So yeah, thanks Deepthi for sharing.
That's great. So for me personally, I chose Canada because of the value that they place on international students, because they really encourage international students to come into their country and contribute to everything that's going on, which is really reflective in their regulations, which allows international students to work while they're studying, as well as giving them a 3 year period after they graduate to explore and really see what they want to do. Additionally, for me, I also like the flexibility that Canada offers, and specifically my university, is that I wouldn't have to declare my major right when I'm entering university. So it gave me up to 2 years actually to really explore and take a lot of courses just that I'm passionate about, and then narrow down to what I really want to major in. So those were just a couple of points as to why I chose to apply to Canada and study in Canada. Ria, if you'd like to give a short brief as to why you've chosen to study at Flame and then move to France, that'd be great.
For sure. So after my 12th grade, obviously I was not decided on what I want to do in future. So I decided that doing my undergraduate in India makes more sense than going right away somewhere else at a young age. And luckily, Flame University was the best option I could actually go for. And because Flame University is a liberal art university, and I don't have to choose what I want to do immediately, because you get to do courses from everything and anything. You don't have to have a certain background to do something. For example, arts in 11th and 12th, you're not going to be allowed to take up biology or math. You can do anything that you want. There is no restriction. And because of that, I studied courses that I would never actually take up, like philosophy, sculpture, iconography, and also digital marketing, which is what I'm doing my master's in right now. Flame also has this option of giving you a study program for either a 3 years or 4 years, depending on what you want to do, because some universities in Canada and US want you to have a bachelor's of 4 years to be eligible to apply for master's abroad. So that's why I think Flame actually really helped me decide what I wanted to do, plus gave me the opportunity to study in a way that I'm actually being taught here, which is in France and abroad. They have the credit system, the course structure is that way. Exams are not a big thing. It's more about doing your assignments, class participation, doing all your research by yourself than just rote learning, which we were previously taught in school. And because of that, I think I made the choice of coming abroad for my master's after doing undergrad in India. And for my master's decision, I actually was studying French from school, and I was obviously intrigued by the idea of developing my languages skills, and French being the option, because in school, after school, even in Flame, I got to take up another language, which was German. I was like, if I'm so interested in learning languages, I might as well choose a country where I can develop it, and it's overall good, not only for my CV, but my personality. That's how I ended up choosing France and Cambridge Business School. And I took up a course which was my major, not my major in my undergrad, it was my minor. So it was a really flexible kind of career path, not sticking to one thing like you would rather do with, say, engineering or medicine or something of that sort. That's my reason for doing what I did. Malaika, I think you're on mute.
So, moving on, if there's anyone in the panel that wants to really discuss something unique about their university in specific rather than their country, and what is something unique or something that really drew you in to choose the university or college that you're studying in today. I know Sneha touched upon this for her university. So if there's anyone else who would like to go, or I could take the question first and then y'all could answer after that.
I think you could go for it, Malaika.
Okay, great. So, like I said, I study in Canada. So I'm studying at Huron University, which is in London, Ontario. Yes, that's a London in Canada as well. So what I find unique about my college is the size of the college. Firstly, it's a very small college, and I came from an international curriculum where my school size was also very small. So I wanted to continue that into my undergraduate degree. So I have an average class size of about 30 students, which is great because I'm pursuing a degree in psychology. And if I was to apply to any other university, I would be sitting in classes with maybe 200 to 300 students in like an intro to psych class. And this was really helpful for me in my first year because it really helped me develop relationships with my professors and with the rest of my classmates rather than just being a student sitting in a huge lecture hall. And something else which I feel is unique about my university is that they really guarantee all their students paid internships through their undergraduate degree. So whatever course you're pursuing, wherever you come from, there's a career development team which will help you right from day one to get a paid internship, which is great because as I can see, budget is a big factor for all of you who are choosing to study, and definitely for me as well. And like Sneha said, like it's always important and really helpful when they give out scholarships. And that's another thing which my university does as well, is that they have entrance scholarships for almost all students coming in, and they also have additional scholarships that you can apply for. So those are just a couple of key points that I really liked about the university, which I've chosen to study at. If there's anyone else that wants to point out a couple of points about their college, or we can move on to the next topic.
I don't think I want to touch upon the main question of what's unique about my school here in France, but I'd like to touch upon the point that you said about budget, right? Because considering how much you're spending into an education, either in India or abroad, makes a lot of sense because you need to know what kind of return you're getting, right? So I found myself looking for universities everywhere in UK, in US, in Canada before I actually chose France. And to my understanding, we always look at it like, okay, if we have universities in US and Canada, it's kind of expensive when you're looking at it, right? And I got the same course in France for 2 years, which I would rather do in UK for 1 year. And I thought that would be an interesting point of view. Like, if I want to get into a new culture, the whole experience of studying abroad is that you go there and you settle and you see how people are, you get the whole experience and not just study. So for me, it was kind of the budget point was more accurate because I did choose a university in France because it gave me the same amount, everything I wanted in my course, but I could stay back for 2 years instead of paying like a huge amount for just a 1 year program in UK, which I would not rather be satisfied with. So yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, just one quick point on this question also, because I should have probably mentioned this earlier, but never mind, because budget seems to be well in the top two criterias. So Ireland actually has the one of the highest minimum wages, and for students, we're allowed to work 20 hours a week during the normal semester, and on holidays up to 40 hours. So that's actually very good for students because even if, for example, you don't get a full scholarship, and fortunately, like even at UCC, there are a lot of a percentage scholarship that's given to you. Part-time jobs are very common here, and students do it. I did it for a while. Then I obviously got the summer job that I'm doing right now. Um, you can easily survive here with the part-time job that you're doing, and that's a very good thing because people usually struggle with kind of how to get over your day-to-day expenses. So that's an advantage that I found in Ireland. Yeah.
That
I'm just going to add on to it really quickly. So same as what Sneha said, in France, I'd like to point out that you get a percentage back of your rent that you're paying from the government back, which helps students a lot because it's not cheap living in Paris. It's not cheap living in any big city in Europe. So it's a great thing that the French government actually helps you by paying like around 20% of your rent back each month out of what you're paying. So this kind of helps with your budget factor as well. And that's something really attracted me to France.
Cool. So moving on, we felt it'd be great to discuss what we really want to do after we get our degree or what really our plans are. So Nikhil is currently he's not yet gone to university, but he's planning to go into university this year. So if Nikhil, if you can give us an idea of what your plans are and why you've been choosing the path that you have chosen.
So thank you for that great question. As I mentioned earlier, I'm largely focused on pursuing engineering and technology in India. Now, this may come as a surprise to some of you, primarily since I'm pursuing the IBDB program. And that's precisely where and why I think we as students need to be more open minded. And something I truly believe is that every student pursuing an international curriculum must understand that India is an option and not a compromise. I think quite often international curriculums, and especially the IB course, is so adapted to preparing you for universities abroad with IA research papers and extracurricular CASAs that inevitably it might just seem that you have an Achilles heel when applying in India. But from what I've seen, the skill set developed during the program gives us truly an unfair advantage to stand out in these universities, where our skill set is quite uncomparable and gives us that added advantage and ease to have a better life in college. On top of that, I believe that there's this constant, not necessarily pure pressure, but this feeling of falling behind, especially from your peer group when you see where others apply. And this is something I particularly struggle with as well. I was very close minded right from grade 9, where I picked out my dream university abroad, and almost everything I did in the last 3 years were largely bent on helping me achieve that goal. So, inadvertently, when there was a switch in that process, it was really hard to swallow, and I still remember those days of contemplation. But here's where I think it's really important that we open up to new opportunities and not necessarily follow the status quo. It's important that we understand everyone's path is unique. And although carving it out might take a little longer, it's always best to be true to yourself and evaluate how you truly feel in isolation of expectation of what others think and what you believe that society expects from you. In that sense, coming to the process for technical universities, it largely has been through competitive exams, but I see that more and more of liberal arts focused and new age universities are adopting and applying a cohesive and holistic application process, which I think is extremely great for the student community looking to transition from an international curriculum to something of what Indian universities offer.
That's great. So unlike Nikhil, who has a very clear idea of what he wants to get into and what he wants to do, I'm sure there are a lot of students who are unsure, like me, even while we're pursuing our undergraduate degree, what do we really want to do after we graduate? And I feel that's why I chose Canada as well, is because of the flexibility of having 3 years after I graduate. Even if I do not have a job straight away after I graduate, I still get to explore and stay in Canada for 3 years, which was something very important to me. And I mean, I just thought I'd point it out is that in Canada, this rule of 3 years is not dependent on the government. So even if the government is to change in the coming years, there'll be no change in the fact that students will have to be given a permit for 3 years to come, which is often a really big concern when you're applying to other countries, because with the change in government, there's a lot of change in policies as well. And if you're investing so much of your time and money into your undergraduate degree, you'd want some sort of stability and assurance post graduation. So personally, for me, that was a really big plus point, because I'm still unsure whether I want to straight away get into a job or I want to get into my master's degree after I complete my undergraduate. So that was from my end why I felt that way. But if anyone else has any other points to add on to this, feel free to go ahead. Okay, moving on then. So I feel another very important point that all of us panelists came to while we were discussing prior to this was the drive in India to chase universities with rankings, and the whole idea that I have to get into the best university and I have to go to the university with the best ranking is something all of us kind of agreed upon, was that we really should look for a university which is a good fit for us, which was something really, really important, is to understand as to, will I fit into the university culturally, socially? It's not all about the academics. And of course, all the universities that we've all chosen are giving us an excellent academic curriculum and giving us the best of the education. But outside of that, are we really being able to grow as people? Are we really fitting in? Are we really having a good time studying that? So that was another point of discussion that if anyone else on the panel would like to add to, you can go ahead.
Yes, I think I'd like to take it up a little bit too. With regards to rankings, there's so many highly ranked schools. I think there are only 80 or 82 universities who have a triple crown accreditation all over the world, and most of them being in the Europe region, right? So we always kind of look, and most of them are in UK. So they have a brand name, and you probably have seen the courses, but it might not be the best fit for you only because it's the highly ranked one, right? When I was doing my research, I looked at mainly UK universities before actually considering France, and I realized that even though the course that they're offering me is a really good one, it's a triple accredited university, somehow I felt like it wasn't the best fit for me, budget wise, even location wise, because studying in London is super expensive. Even if the university is highly ranked, you're paying so much for your tuition fee, you're going to pay so much for your living expenses living in a city like London. So it's not the best thing to go over the rank. And my university, it is actually triple accredited in France, but it's not higher up in the rank. It's a little low, but it still has that kind of prestige, and it does have a course that really makes me want to stay in France. Moreover, I'm developing my personality by meeting, like, talking in French all the time, developing that kind of skill. So I think it's really, really important to know what you're doing, what universities, right, what kind of people you're going to be with, and if you really, really find the course interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that because I have I had a similar experience. I applied to 6 schools. Five of them were in the US, and one of them was, so I'm a design major, so going to an Ivy League or anything like that doesn't really make sense for me. But I did get into kind of like the Ivy League like equivalent for a design school or an art school, and I think like when I got in, everyone thought that it's like an obvious choice. Like, you've got into the best college, just go there. Why are you even thinking about it? But I realized that just because it's like ranked number one doesn't mean that for me as a person, it's going to be the number one college. I think people feel that just because it's the best, it's going to be the best in the world, it's going to be the best fit for everyone. And that's not really true. I'm not saying that it's not possible, but it's not true for everyone. And that's when I realized that rankings don't really make a difference, because in fact, I'm probably getting a better education experience at the college that I'm currently in, because as I mentioned earlier, like, all the teachers are working professionals. And if you look at the design industry or like the film industry or photography industry, a lot of really great people are like alumni, the alumni from my school. And you don't really hear much about the school that's ranked number one. And so I think like that's what really matters. I think still a considerable number of people have considered ranking, which I did think that number one is like going to be the best place for me. But I was actually able to go and visit all the colleges before I made the decision. And for me, like the college that I'm currently at, it just worked well because the people were great. There was a really large proportion of international students. There's like 52% of the students in my year are actually international students. So it was pretty easy to fit in. And Ivy League schools and really top ranked schools don't always give you scholarships. They give financial aid, but that's only limited to US students. You if you're an international student, you won't really get help on like the financial aspect. And for me, it really just made sense to go to the college that I'm in, because I was getting half of the tuition fee paid for by the college, and 1/4 of my residence was paid by the college. So I think there's like this big myth that like ranking is like the number one thing, but I think like for a lot of us here, I think we realize that ranking is really not that important.
Yeah. And I feel that realization also comes out you've gone to university for a lot of people, because I'm sure a lot of us were stuck in that whole rat race while we were applying or while we were in school. We were constantly told to apply to certain colleges and set our dreams high and aspire to get into those colleges. But I mean, like you're hearing from all of us, we're extremely happy where we are. And even if our universities aren't ranked number one, number two in the world, we're really having a good time. And I feel that's something that's really important. And for all of you who are going to be applying to universities, definitely have that conversation with your family, have that conversation with your friends, and do not chase after numbers or rankings. So with that, I'll just open it to the panel once again. If any of y'all have any points that y'all want to bring up, after which we'll open it to the audience for any questions.
I suppose just continuing with what Malaika just mentioned, I'm on my fifth degree. So I think I've had a decent amount of experience with universities in India and abroad. So I actually did my 12th. I graduated back in 2008 or 9. And I did, my opportunities were very limited because I'd come from a very small town. My father was posted in a place called Gorakhpur. And my only aim or my only idea of getting into university was Delhi University. And I aimed for the best colleges that I knew at that point of time for my stream, which were Lady Shri Ram College and St. Stephen's. And that was my aim in life, because everyone, I think, as the poll also says, everyone kind of aims for getting into the best ranking university. And I've actually studied in both the colleges. I've studied in LSR as well as St. Stephen's. I eventually graduated from St. Stephen's. And that's a choice I made. But when you actually go there, you realize that, everyone is just like you. They're all students of the same age. And it's not just the university that makes it high ranking. It's basically the students. The universities are known because of their alumni. You need to understand that. And that's a very important thing. Today, if I graduate from UCC and I end up doing something which contributes to the society, or I become famous, the university is going to be known in my name, like Sneha graduated from University College Cork. So, the only perspective is not that, the ranking of the university matters. It also matters where your child is going to fully adapt and be the best version of themselves. And maybe someday be known, the university might be known for them, like, so that's actually a very important perspective that a lot of people don't understand because of the peer pressure or the general stigma, unfortunately, that we do have in the society, that it's the ranking of the university that matters. All universities started as unknown universities. They eventually came to be popular. So there's nothing stopping the university that you're applying to for becoming famous one day, becoming the top 1%, the top 5 in the world. So don't kind of only limit yourselves thinking that way. This is also a different perspective.
For sure. So now we're just going to open it up to the audience. If you guys have any questions for any one of us, or if you have any general questions that you would like us to discuss, then feel free to go ahead and ask them.
Like, I think there's questions already in the chat and the Q&A section of the...
I think I want to just answer one of them that came right now, I guess. I'm a commerce student interested in business and computer science. Which country would be the best for me to pursue my undergrad in the same? So I'd want to say that maybe we didn't discuss this, but what your future looks for you, or you think your future looks for you, is actually a big thing while considering where you want to study in India or abroad, right? If you feel like you want to go to a country and study from undergrad level, it's probably you're looking for PR, or you want to stay there for a long term so you get a hang of the culture or the kind of people that you're going to be with. So I think an important factor is also, while choosing a country, is not only just the budget and the course, etc., what you want from it in the future. Like if you want to settle there, then it's great to go for countries which are PR friendly, like Canada is, right? But if you plan on just getting an experience and coming back, you need to look at the industry that your course relates to. If you can actually do internships, gain some experience in that field, and get that kind of knowledge back to India. So I think it's impossible to say what country is the best for you to do. It's just that you gotta research about what industry do you want to work in, if that industry is actually booming, and what you want out of studying abroad in future. Like, do you want to stay there or you want to come back? I guess you guys need to add to it.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I have a few points too.
sorry, just 2 seconds. I think Daksh has asked this question, right? So before anything else, Ireland is actually very popular for courses in computer science and business. If you just have a look at UCC's website, you'll know that there are a number of programs. In fact, more than half of the student population, the international student population for these programs are Indians in Ireland, and very specifically University College Cork. So Daksh, you might want to have a look at it and explore that as an option. And the scholarships are also available for this. So thanks.
Hi, Daksh. I think I have a few points I can help you out with that process. I share very similar interests to you as well. I've been doing business and computer science, not necessarily, but as a hobby all throughout high school. And I really feel your thought process on this. So I'm, as I mentioned earlier, looking at graduating from India. And graduating from India directly puts you into a hot and ongoing startup scene where you can apply both your skills of business and computer science. And moreover, I see a lot of tech inclined students are looking for that early Silicon Valley environment, something you might be interested in as well. Running a startup out of a garage, hustling all night. And I think the right set of traits are and timing is coming to India right now, where you can really experience the raw Silicon Valley without the accelerators, the sort of aspects to it, and really focus on building a cohesive product. And moreover, I think technology has been one of the key driving factors of our economy. And in addition to that, the rise of aspirational investors who are passionate, or even if not more than the founders themselves, are quite abundant here, which may be rare in other regions. More and more of what I see are students building organizations here. And I'd love to work with these highly passionate cohort of students. And something that I think that can help you drive your decision as well. As this particularly ties in extremely well with my particular plans of officially entering the startup space, bringing together my skills of computer science and business. And I think university is a great potential co-founders and one of the best times to get your feet wet in the industry, especially in India, where it's an up and coming startup space.
For sure. So I see another question from Mayank saying, for undergraduate, which country is better to go to, UK or Canada? So unfortunately, we don't have any students from UK on the panel today, but I'm studying in Canada right now. And at the top of my head, I feel like the most evident benefits of studying in Canada, for me at least, were that one, if I'm not wrong, in the UK, you have to declare your major when you get in. So, and it's a 3-year program. So you need to know what you're doing right from when you start off, as compared to in Canada, where I don't have to declare my major. I can go in, explore around for 1 to 2 years, and then see what I really want to get into. Other than that, I'm not 100% sure, once again, with the legal aspect of students, international students in UK. But from what I know up to now, it's been much more flexible for students to stay back in Canada after they graduate, to work or even just explore what they really want to get into. So for those two aspects, I feel like Canada is a better option. But unfortunately, I do not have enough information about the UK. And I just want to add to the next question, which was, how do you get scholarships and what are the criteria for scholarships? So for my scholarship, it was at my university, at least, it's an automatic entrance scholarship based on whatever your grade is when you're entering. And then after that, if you want to apply for additional scholarships like I did, you would have to be involved in extracurricular activities, having done some social work, and really having some hobbies or passions that you have worked on through your high school. So those were some aspects that they took into consideration while granting scholarships. Of course, apart from having to have a really high academic grade as well. So that was for me. If anyone else who's on a scholarship could give a few criteria that your university took into account.
Thanks, Malaika. I don't have experience of UK or Canada either, so but I would like to point one thing out which my family personally went through. My sister was actually studying at the Royal College of Arts in UK, and when the pandemic hit, the lockdown, she was sent home within hours. And I think with the whole pandemic coming in, as students and even as parents, that's a very important thing that we need to consider. Um, I'll speak for Ireland because my experience has been with Ireland and UK. She was sent home within hours, and I was safely brought in here. I'm still in Cork, and that speaks for the kind of the level of compassion and to provide safety to students and international students in Ireland. That that is an important factor. It's not just you studying abroad, but also how well the government kind of takes care of international students. So that's one thing that also kind of helped me make the decision of choosing between UK and Ireland. And how did you get the scholarship? So you give your IELTS academic exam, and depending on your score, then you apply to the university with your course preference. So depending on what your preferences are, I had to give in three, and then you get accepted for it, and then you can apply for the scholarship. Every scholarship is different. I applied for, so I received the automatic. Uh, because my score in my undergrad law degree was good and I do have a couple of years of experience in litigation, I was awarded a PATH scholarship by UCC on the spot in Delhi. In fact, when I first met representatives from UCC, and eventually I did apply for this scholarship. The details are available on the website. It's called the Government of Ireland International Education Scholarship, or GOIIES. It's a highly competitive scholarship. This is kind of the only one that I personally applied to. It's only awarded to 60 students, 60 international students from all over the world, for all universities in Ireland, for all masters, PhD, and final year undergrad courses. So you apply for that. There are a couple of questions that you need to answer. Good references, either from your college, or if you've obviously if you've interned. Students do intern these days in high school as well, of what I'm told. Or any experience that you have. If you can get from your if you can get one from your principal, good references definitely help in getting a good scholarship. So that's basically what I did. So yeah.
That's great. I see a lot. We're getting a lot more questions. So a lot of questions about the IELTS exams and getting a score on that. So personally, I'm not 100% sure again, but what I feel is that's just a criteria. They're not gonna look after you cross a certain band in that. They're not gonna be looking at what score you get, but it's just gonna be a criteria as to whether you've got the minimum score to really just ensure your proficiency in English. A lot of questions for best college and best country to study a specific field in. Once again, personally, I feel here there's no one like best college for any of these things. Of course, there'll be colleges ranked once again best, but definitely look into a wide range of colleges. And I feel one of the best ways is get in touch with students who are studying in those colleges, try to talk to them, get their experience firsthand, and look at something like that. um, if anyone else has anything else to add to those questions, or I will try
I
to
think
pull
I
up.
have one for IELTS. So because I applied for my master's during the pandemic, right? I flew during the pandemic was I was waived off this requirement of having an IELTS score or an English score. But for to make up for it, my university actually organized within itself, once I flew here, a English exam test where we could do study and had to give it. And it's in Europe, I think it's called TOEIC, like TOEFL, but it's called TOEIC, and you have to give it there and an equivalent for your next year program. So I think because ongoing in pandemic, there are a lot of universities and colleges which could have waived off this requirement. They would ask you in the future to do it. So make sure that you're looking in your course brochure properly if it's okay, and you can always talk to the person from your university, directly email them to talk about your situation and if there is anything they can do to help you out. Because I'm sure even in India, if you're planning to go for a liberal arts university or study back in India, if they have some kind of a requirement, it's to go talk to that university admission council about your problems, about your IELTS score, etc. Otherwise, I don't think it's a very big deal to have a low score or something. Once you're above the limit that they want and they see that you're passionate enough to actually take up the course, it's going to be fine.
Yeah. I just see one more question, which was Canada related. Said, what is the best course to opt if you want to settle in Canada? Like I mentioned earlier, Canada does not have specific courses for which it places preference to giving students a work permit or letting students stay back. So unlike, I think Rabia had mentioned that STEM students in the US get a longer period of time to stay back as compared to other students in Canada, regardless of what course you get into, you will be allowed to explore. So there's no one way to say, I want to settle in Canada, so I will take this course. Take a course you're passionate about and you're really interested in, and you'll definitely be able to find something over there and really fit into the landscape and then eventually settle there if that's your primary aim.
I do see questions for France. I think I'm just going to quickly take that up.
Sure.
How long can you stay in France after graduation? And is the education in France in French or English? So there are courses taught both in French and in English. If you don't feel comfortable enough or you don't have the French level to take the French course, obviously you opt for the English one. That's what I'm doing. My course is completely taught in English. So there are a lot of courses opening up right now which teach completely in English. And with it, you also get an option to study French. So they do offer you free French classes by the side of your course ongoing, so that you can get a hang of the language and you can talk to other students in French and increase your oral skills. And how long can you stay in France? After a master's program, you can stay 2 more years after your course is finished, and to get a job, to find something to do, or entrepreneurship, or just be in the country as far as it is concerned. But if you're an undergraduate, it kind of helps because you're already doing an undergraduate program for 4 years in France. And if you do a 4 years in France, you can directly opt for a 1-year master and complete your complete education in 5 years. And once that is done, you're kind of already settled into the culture, you're learning the language. If you directly apply for a PR, you usually, the case is that they give you a PR if you've been in the country for 5 years. So for you, if that's the way to go, if that's what you want to do, coming for undergrad, then applying for masters, and then wanting to stay back is a super easy option in France.
I think there's one question for AI that do we have time, Malaika?
Take that question.
All right. I'm obviously doing studying law, but I do have a lot of people here who are currently working, and I'd say that Ireland is a very good option, and there are a lot of friends of mine who've graduated from University College Cork, who are currently working here. It's a lot easier to get a job in this field if in Ireland in comparison to a lot of other courses. This is one of the popular ones, like I mentioned earlier. If any of you are interested in talking about this a little further, I could possibly ask Deepthi. She can share my email ID with you all, and we can get in touch with the international office at UCC as well to answer questions further about the course. Thanks so much.
I do see a couple of questions for the US. So I just wanted to answer that. I think someone's asking what if we want to do our undergrad in the US. So I guess that just means like what the application process is. So I think for the US, the earlier you start to, um, like just build your application, the easier it's going to be for you later on. You won't have to stress out too much in your last year of school because so I think getting your grades in order is very important for the US. They look at your transcripts from the ninth grade till the 12th grade. They look at one transcript from every semester. So I think that's a total of 8 um, semesters that they're going to look at. So definitely, focus on your grades. That's kind of important. Also, there's another question which says, is SAD necessary? So I think yes. For me, it was not. I still gave it because one college that I was applying to, which was Rhode Island School of Design, it it was necessary. But for if you're applying to an art college, it's not really necessary. Some colleges ask for it, some colleges don't require it. But for all other majors, it is required. So definitely give either the SAT or the ACT. And then you also have to do TOEFL, which is again compulsory if you want to study in the US. And then for the rest of the application, you have to have your LORs, 2 LORs, which play like they do play an important role in your um, application. You need to have your essays. So if you're applying through Common App, you're going to have one essay, and that will go to all the colleges that you're applying to through Common App. Otherwise, there are some colleges that will have specific essays that they want you to write, or like specific questions that they want you to write. So um, you have to like read into the process of the college that you're applying to as well. There are some colleges that require you to write an essay if you want a scholarship, if you want to take part in the honors program or something like that. So just like read up about where you're applying, what the process is. And then there's also there's a option of either applying early, which is early decision, and early action. So those are two different things. Early action is that you apply early and you get admission early, and that's it. Early decision is that you'll apply early. If you get in, then you're bound to that college. You cannot go anywhere else. You have to, go to that particular university, college, whatever. If you don't, then they're going to blacklist your school. So it's going to be tougher for students after you to get admitted into that college. So I applied early action because I was not sure where I want to go. So I would definitely recommend early action in case you're not sure of what you want to do, which college it is that you want to go to. For early decision, some people consider that it's going to give you priority, but that's not always the case, because in early decision you have a fewer number of people that are applying, but usually they're the ones whose applications are like stronger. So you're going to have more competition in early decision. Whereas if you're applying in the regular decision and you have like more applications, if you have a good application, it's possible that you will stand out more as compared to early decision. But yeah, that's kind of like the quick overview of what it's like to apply for undergrad. Again, like Sneha said, if anyone wants to reach out, I can share my email, or like I guess we can share our contacts with everyone.
Sure. So I think we've already gone above the time limit. So if anyone else who's viewing right now has a question that they really, really want answered, put it to the chat box right now, or we're gonna have to wrap up the event now. So I'm just gonna wait for like a minute or two more, and if we do not receive any more questions, then we're gonna end the session now. So thank you so much to all of you for attending. Thank you so much to all the panelists for giving us a great insight to in their university, their country of choice. And I hope that everyone who's watching has got some takeaways from this discussion that'll be helpful while they're applying to college.
Much.
And have a wonderful weekend.
Okay, I'll be stopping the stream. Should I?
Yeah, sure, ma'am. I think.
Okay. Was there any problem while you guys were talking? I mean, like any network issues, nothing, right?
I don't think so.
For me,
Okay.
yes, I actually logged out in the middle, the beginning. I don't know why everything froze, so I had to rejoin, but that's it.
You still have your video a little unbalanced, so
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah, well, that's happening.
that's okay. I think it went really smoothly. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I've taken my notes now.
Diti,
Okay.
I've only
Hmm,
I've given you my student email ID,
right.
not my personal one. So I hope that's okay.
Yeah, I'll discuss about this. I have Rabia's also. I will discuss this with Randeep ma'am first. कि ये float करना है नहीं करना है because I am not authorized to do that. So
No, not upload. If anyone comes to you, obviously upload mat karna. That would be a problem.
yeah,
But if anyone comes to you for any with any questions, or they require any assistance, just you can always share that. Like, speak to Randeep obviously, but like I'm just sharing it for that.
sure. I'll keep that in mind. Okay.
All right.
Okay, guys. If you guys want to move out of this booth, so you can go around and explore other booths also.
All
You
right.
have
Sorry,
UCC
I
here.
have to get onto another call, but it was really nice meeting you all, Malaika, Ria, Rabia.
Yes,
Okay.
let's keep in touch.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Take
I
care of
think I
yourselves,
had
guys.
a.
Thanks so much, Deepti. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye. Have a
Bye.
good weekend. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
It was
guys.
great connecting with all of you.